While we're waiting for everybody to get straight here, this has to do with Lloyd Welch, who has been identified as a person of interest in this case. That's Mr. Welch's picture just to the left of the gentleman there at the microphone. Again, this is all about those two little girls, Sheila and Catherine Lyon, who disappeared from the Wheaton Mall back in the 1970s, and we're about to find out
Sheriff
more.
Mike Brown, Bedford County Sheriff's Office. This afternoon, we're going to speak to you in reference to the Lyons case out of Maryland. You will be Chief Hamill, Montgomery County Police Department will be speaking to you. He will be speaking to you about persons of interest and the coordinated efforts of law enforcement in this investigation. Then Randy Krantz, our Commonwealth Attorney, will be speaking to you reference to judicial direction that this case is going. Chief.
Thank you, Sheriff. I'm Assistant Chief Russ Hamill from the Montgomery County, Maryland Department of Police. To begin with, I want to thank you, the media, for coming out here today and being helpful throughout the Lyon investigation. I also want to thank the Bedford County Sheriff's Office, especially Sheriff Mike Brown and his staff, the Bedford County Commonwealth Attorney, Mr. Randy Krantz, as well as the citizens of Bedford for assisting us throughout this investigation. The kind assistance, hard work, and professionalism of both the Bedford County Sheriff's Department and the Montgomery County Police Department have in this partnership, have led us to today to announce that we believe that we're going to announce that Richard Allen Welsh Sr., who we believe to be the uncle of Lloyd Welsh, is now considered to be a person of interest in our joint and ongoing investigation of the Lyon sisters, who've been missing, as you know, since 1975. Sheila and Catherine went to a local mall in Wheaton, Maryland at that time. They were young girls, and we have not seen them since for over 39 years. Through our ongoing investigation, as you recall, back in February, Lloyd Welsh, you can see his pictures to my right, was announced as a person of interest. You also can see that he has aliases of Michael Welsh and Mike Welsh. Today, the gentleman we believe to be his uncle, Richard Allen Welsh, is also a person of interest. We ask anybody that has any information regarding either of the Welshes to please contact us immediately. We believe that Richard Allen Welsh Sr. may have been a security guard in the Wheaton area of Montgomery County in the 1970s. We also encourage people of any information regarding Mr. Welsh's employment at that time to also contact law enforcement as soon as possible. As I mentioned, this investigation has been ongoing for over 39 years, but especially over the last year, where investigators from Montgomery County and Bedford have developed many leads. Now we especially need the help of both communities at this time. In fact, we need the help of anyone who has any information regarding the missing girls to my left, Sheila and Catherine, or Richard Welsh Sr., or Lloyd Welsh. We're asking people to come forward. It's now time for you to do the right thing, step forward and assist law enforcement to help us bring closure to this heart-wrenching matter. We need further help from the community. You've been so helpful so far. We still need some help from you. Now's the time. Randy, I believe you have some words.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Randy Krantz. I'm the Commonwealth's Attorney for Bedford County. Based upon the investigation and information provided to my office, I have convened a multi-jurisdictional grand jury that will begin hearing testimony and evidence tomorrow, October the 3rd at 9 a.m. at the Bedford County Courthouse. This will be a continuing process, and I expect this to take several days and several sessions of the grand jury. This is an investigative grand jury that has the ability to swear witnesses under oath and require them to provide truthful testimony. I would remind everyone that there is significant punishment for perjury. The grand jury has the authority to subpoena witnesses, documents, and records. And the supervising court of the grand jury also has the authority to hold people in contempt for improperly defying the authority of the grand jury. This can include incarcerating those that refuse to testify improperly and to remain in custody until that contempt is purged by providing the required testimony. Because of the secret nature of the grand jury, I will not be able to answer any questions concerning any evidence that may be presented or that will be heard. But what I can tell you is the multi-jurisdictional grand jury will remain in session as long as necessary to further the resolution of this case. Thank you.
Sir, in terms of the grand jury, I know you said you can't give much detail, but are you presenting charges? What is this related to in terms of where this is going in terms of the investigation?
All I can say is the purpose of a multi-jurisdictional grand jury is to hear testimony and further the investigation at this point.
Are you bringing family members down to Maryland to interview?
I cannot comment.
What information can you give about Mr. Welch Sr. as to what brought you to this information about that he's a person of interest? Is he living? What are his whereabouts? What can you tell us about him?
What I can say is the investigative efforts of both agencies have led us to determining that he is a person of interest in this case. He is alive, and we do know where he is located at this time.
Can you say where?
Not at this time.
Any detail you can give on the evidence that led you to this?
No.
It's my understanding that Richard Welch Sr. may have owned land in the area that's being searched. Is that correct?
That is correct.
In the 70s?
I'm not sure exactly when, but he has been connected to owning land in the area that we've been searching here in Bedford.
Can you give more detail about the sketch and where the sketch came from? Because, you know, there's a lot of news stories from that era that says it came from a witness, that there was a third little girl that was with them. Is there more detail about where that specific sketch came from?
That sketch came at the time of the incident, and it was developed from an eyewitness at Wheaton Plaza who assisted law enforcement at that time.
What's the significance of showing Helen Craver's picture?
Because people may not know, as you can see, Mr. Welch has numerous names and aliases. People may not know Mr. Welch as Mr. Welch. This Lloyd is Lloyd or Michael, but they may know him from his association with Helen Craver.
But she's not a suspect or a person?
No.
Where does this go from here? Are you now relying on the public and help from the public almost entirely, or is it a combination of factors?
It's very much a combination of factors. We have many investigative leads that we're still working on, but there's people out here in these communities that know what happened back then and that carry it with them today. And it's their not only responsibility as a citizen, it's their moral responsibility to step forward. They've waited nearly 40 years. It's their responsibility to step forward and be honest about what occurred and bring closure to this matter for all the victims involved. The two little girls are the main victims, but there's many other victims involved here.
The people you're talking about that you want to come forward specific are in this particular region, not so much as a general umbrella. Is that correct?
No, general umbrella. We'll go with the general umbrella.
Has the Welch family been cooperative?
I wouldn't be prepared to answer that at this time, especially in light of the ongoing grand jury.
Can you explain in more detail about this property that has been searched over the last few weeks? Is it owned by the Welch family? Was it owned by the Welch family? What connection, if any, to these two persons of interest?
But I can say that the property some of the property has been owned in the past and may be currently owned by members of the family and the extended family. That's a big mountain up there, and there's numerous people that own property on that mountain.
Can you elaborate? Like, are we talking like a grandmother? Are we talking about a distant relative? Or are we talking about someone closer to these two men? Because now that they're persons of interest, what is their relation to this piece of property?
As we mentioned earlier, the elder person of interest we believed owned property on that mountain and may still own property on that mountain.
And can you explain why all of a sudden in the last 3 weeks this stuff is moving so quickly? What's happened? Why are we here in Bedford and not up in Montgomery County right now?
Because-
why is the grand jury here?
Because where the investigative leads have taken us so far. I believe you had a question?
I wanted to ask about Ms. Craver. Is she from the Bedford area? Would people here recognize her? Had she been here maybe in the 70s
We-
with Mr. Welch?
We don't know, and Ms. Craver is now deceased, so we're relying on people's memory of back then to please come forward.
How old is Richard Welch? How old is he?
He is over 70 years old.
Is he in the Commonwealth of Virginia, Maryland? Can you give any sort of ideas where he is?
We know where he is, and that's as far as I'll go with that.
Any further conversations with Lloyd Lee Welch Jr. in terms of his thoughts on this investigation? Where does he stand? What is his position in this investigation?
He continues to be a person of interest in the case, and we'll continue our investigation into him.
As the detective, do you believe a crime was committed against the Lyon sisters here in Bedford County?
I believe we'll get to the bottom of where numerous crimes have committed when this investigation's over.
Do you think the girls are on that mountain?
Do I personally think so? I personally think there's a good chance.
You
Have you
mentioned that.
found them?
No, ma'am.
You mentioned you believe the elder Mr. Welch was a security guard in Wheaton. Was he a security guard at the mall?
What we said, we believe he was a security guard in the Wheaton area. That's what we're hoping people will come forward with and expound upon that.
So you don't necessarily know where, just the Wheaton area.
We have a general idea, but we'd like the public's help with that.
Is Lloyd Lee Welch continue to deny any involvement with this situation?
I'm not going to discuss his interviews with us.
Can you talk in more detail about their relationship? Did Lloyd or Mike, did he live with his uncle at some period of time? Were they close? Are they close in age? Can you give any more detail about the two of them?
What I can say is they're relatives, of course. We believe that they had contact with each other, and they're approximately, I think, 18 to 23 years apart in age, roughly.
Anything additionally on the search efforts? Where does that go from here? Will that continue?
We will continue all of the efforts we've had ongoing, especially over the past year.
You said that you thought he was that you think he was a security guard near Wheaton Mall. Was he actually in Wheaton Mall itself as a security guard, or is that what you're trying to sort of clarify now?
We're trying to establish that a little more soundly at this time.
So do you want people in the Montgomery County area to go through their employment records if they've ever had a business in that area?
If they feel that would help, yes. If people down here know where he worked because of his relationship with them, step forward and tell us where he worked.
We've talked to people in this area, this may be better for the sheriff, who have said that that mountain is a mountain that people in the town know to sort of leave alone, that they're not welcomed on that mountain. Is that a fair representation of this area for people like us who are from Montgomery County? How do you describe that area down there?
You say the people you've talked to have indicated what?
That they're not really welcome to go visit that part of the mountain, that people are that live there stay there. They don't come out into the neighborhood, they don't come and talk to folks. That it's got a reputation. Is that a fair representation?
No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, it's we've been welcome. We've had cooperation throughout our investigation. We've had absolutely no problems. We've had people from the mountain come to us with information, and we are continuing to deal with and to communicate with those people. So no, it's wonderful people up on the mountain.
Have you had any trouble with the Welch family or anybody related to this property where the search has been happening over the last couple of decades?
The last couple of decades, I don't know. To my knowledge, no. Again, it's great people up there.
I mean, this is Montgomery County, almost 5 hours north of here, and you may be the sheriff in charge of an investigation that people in our area have waited for 40 years for an answer on. That's a big responsibility. What have you personally been going through the last few weeks since this has come to light?
Well, I have lost a son. I lost a son at 17 years of age. I know what it is to lose a child. However, I know where my son is. It means a lot to me that we would help and we would go all out for any enforcement agency who came to us with this type of problem. We'd go all out for them. But it means a little bit more to me that these parents have not been able to put, to come to peace of mind with it, to bring their daughters home and give them a Christian burial, give them a proper burial. It means a great deal to me. I think about it quite a bit, and we will do everything in our power to assist.
Have you found that the community down here is rallying, that this is something they've decided is partly their responsibility, that they need to find what happened?
I don't know that I'd use the word rallying, but we've had cooperation. I mean, we've absolutely had cooperation from everybody that we've spoken with. I know the investigators that have been on the mountain commented to me on a number of occasions how great the communication was, how open the communication was. So we're hoping that, well, we know it will continue.
Can you give any detail about what kinds of areas you searched? It's private property, so we can't go stomping all over it. So
Yeah.
Can you explain? I mean, we've heard about a cemetery, we've heard about big property. Can you give a little more detail about what the search is?
The mountain, that's basically where we've been. I couldn't specifically. I couldn't. I'm sure probably some of you have gone to Google Earth and have probably Googled it, and you see what the mountain is. It's quite expansive. I mean, and it's we are up there. We've been searching. We'll continue to search, and hopefully we'll be successful.
Are we talking lots of acreage?
Oh yes, lots of acreage.
I mean, hundreds of acres? Or
Well, sure. Yeah.
terrain? I mean, is it wooded?
It's wooded. It's very rough. It's rocky. It's plenty of rattlesnakes up on the mountain. So that's why I would suggest you don't go up there just jumping around. But yeah, it's very rough. It's very rough. It's remote. So it's again, it's a lot of acreage. It's a lot of property to search, and we are doing our darndest to search it all. And it seems like every rock we turn over, we develop a lead.
Sheriff, we've heard that there were going to be other areas that were going to be searched. Is the place up there off Taylor Mountain Road that you've been searching not the only place in Bedford County where you plan to do any active searching like you've been doing the last few weeks?
Tim, I can't be specific. I'm not going to be specific on that. We're looking at other locations.
Have you found any other evidence leading to any other crimes? Or
No,
people?
to my knowledge, no.
Will there be the Montgomery County's Commonwealth's attorney for the grand jury? Or is it just the Bedford County Commonwealth's attorney?
I'll defer to Randy with that. Behind me.
I would ask everyone to keep in mind this is a joint task force between Bedford County and Montgomery County. It involves the Montgomery County Police Department, the Montgomery County State's Attorney's Office, my office and the Montgomery County State's Attorney's Office are working very close together in constant communication. The State's Attorney's Office in Maryland will have the opportunity to either convene their own grand jury as leads are developed and or participate in this grand jury. I would remind everyone that there is no such thing as a non-relevant fact in a case like this. And so what you see us doing is bringing every resource we have to bear to both attempt to clear the innocent and, when it's proper, to convict the guilty. So that is this combined effort. So to directly answer your question, the Maryland State's Attorney's Office is working very close and allowing Bedford County to work very close with them. And what I've been impressed with is not only the communication and coordination between the agencies. As a prosecutor, I strive for that, and I've received that sort of assistance. But I would also like to remind everyone that our goal is to resolve this case and to go wherever the evidence leads us. And so over the next several days, we may see multiple sessions of the multi-jurisdictional grand jury and other proceedings that will further this investigation to a point of resolution. Thank you.
Will that grand jury, will it only be folks from Bedford County serving on that grand jury tomorrow?
In the Commonwealth of Virginia, a multi-jurisdictional grand jury means that the grand jurors come from different parts of Virginia. It's a multiple county grand jury in Virginia, and that's why it's called a multi-jurisdictional grand jury.
But no one from Maryland?
There would be no one sitting as panel members on the grand jury from Maryland at this stage. No, ma'am.
Can you describe how far the case has progressed since it moved to Bedford County?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Can you describe it, maybe how far the case has progressed in terms of you all moving it along?
Our department has handled this investigation before we came to Bedford County since it occurred 39 years ago. It's never been put to rest, but our feeling is that we're further along now, closer to resolution than we've ever been. So it's progressed a great deal due to the hard work of a lot of investigators who have sacrificed a great deal to get us to the stage we're at now.
Can you, have you spoken, or have any of your detectives spoken to Lloyd Welch since he was named a person of interest, or is he not cooperating?
We're not going to discuss that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We appreciate you coming today. Your help really is important. The media's help, so thank you.
A remarkable news conference that we just witnessed there in Bedford County, Virginia, in which the county sheriff there in Bedford County and also the Assistant Chief Russ Hamill of the Montgomery County Police Department, in effect, asked the community to give up secrets they said folks in Bedford County have been keeping for almost 40 years. That's what Russ Hamill said about the situation there. We've identified now 2 persons of interest in this case. It involves 2 girls, Sheila and Catherine Lyon, who disappeared back in 1975. That's one of them right there. That is Lloyd Welch. And the second person of interest that we found out about this afternoon is his uncle, Richard Allen Welch Sr. He was identified as a security guard, perhaps in that part of Wheaton in Montgomery County, near Wheaton Mall, which is where the 2 Lyon sisters were headed that fateful day back in 1975 when they vanished, and almost 39 years later, now they are still missing. We heard from the sheriff there. He was asked the direct question, did he think those girls were on that mountain? And we saw a little while ago a Google Earth picture of Taylor's Mountain, which is the area, and there it is right now. It is a significant plot of land. The sheriff talked about it was hundreds of acres in size. He said they have been all over that mountain. Just about every time they turn over a rock, he said they are finding another case or another clue in this case. Chief Hamill was asked if he thought the girls were on that mountain, and he said it was his considered opinion that they probably are. And also we heard from the sheriff, who said he thought that there are numerous crimes that might be solved if they can get a break in this case. Apparently, they say they know where Richard Allen Welch Sr. is. They're asking him to come forward. We also heard from the Commonwealth's attorney there in Bedford County that a grand jury has been impaneled, a criminal grand jury, to subpoena witnesses. As I say, a remarkable news conference there from Bedford County. I want to shift gears now pretty quickly if we can, so we can get you a news